In this video I will tell you exactly why I expect a stock market drop during the summer. Stay until the end of the video because we will deep dive in our portfolio in order to understand what to sell, what to buy and what to hold.
We have been to the S&P 500 and we started with analyzing the COT report, especially asset managers and institutionals. Okay, this is something really interesting to do because this special category of institutional, it's really important, and it's really nice to analyze in order, it's very important to analyze in order to understand how the market will behave. Because if we go back to the end of 2025, as you can see, these in red are the net positions for this special category. What the net position means, very simple. Net position are the long position minus the short position. And thanks to this chart, you can understand if they are more optimistic or not on the market. And as you can see, in the case of the end of 2025, beginning of 2025, as you can see, they started to sell and close many long position while the market, the S&P 500, was rising, as you can see, thanks to the blue line. Okay, so the market was going up and they started in September to close their long position. And as I told you last week, this is one of the points that led us to decide that it was time for betting for the long side in April, because the market was crashing, the market was going down, the market made new lows, but at the same time, we had optimistic sign from the asset managers and institutional, because they started to buy again the market. And this special category of investor is really nice and very important to analyze, because they are here for the long run. Inside this special category, as you can see here on the Forecaster terminal, you can find pension fund, insurance company, mutual fund. These guys are here for the long run. They, let's say, invest long only, but of course they like to optimize, and they start to buy heavily when they think the market is oversold or undervalued, and they start to close their long position when the market, they consider the market overbought or overvalued. And now something really interesting is happening, because look, the market is going up. As you can see, the market is reaching the all-time high we saw at the beginning of 2025 in February. But this special category is not so optimistic anymore like they were in April. Okay, and so this is why we decided to deep dive in our analysis and do a double check on every position we had in our portfolio. And this is why, for example, we decided to close some position in our portfolio. In order to understand better the market, of course, we also decided to analyze the seasonality. And in this case, as you can see, right now, the current price, which is the price you can see on the chart in pink, is 87% correlated with the last year. Very simple. It means that current year, the actual prices are moving exactly like they did the last year. Okay, so if we see at the chart, we can definitely see that last year prices dropped exactly in summer, starting from the mid of July. And if we go here to the statistics, we can see that exactly in summer we had a drop of almost 8% in the stock market, in the S&P 500, okay? And this is what we can expect for this summer again, because as I told you, the current year, the actual prices are moving exactly like they did the last year. Can you see my screen, guys? I think yes, because nobody complained. So perfect. Thank you very much. Just to be sure, because it's not could be not the first time I speak for half an hour alone. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anil, and thank you, Michele.
We made a lot of money with NVIDIA shares, but we decided to sell the position. This is exactly why.
We sold some important position in our portfolio, like for example, Palantir. We already made a video two weeks ago. You can find it here on our YouTube channel. You can go to our YouTube channel and you can catch up if you lost it. And we also sold NVIDIA, Visa, Microsoft, and Meta. Okay. Why we sold NVIDIA, one of the best company ever, which at the moment is still undervalued? Because look, if we visit the fundamental page of NVIDIA inside the Forecaster terminal, we can definitely say the company is undervalued more than 30%. It's the share price at the moment, it's below the average fair value, which, as you probably know, is calculated as an average of 3 different calculation analysis method: the discounted cash flow, the Peter Lynch method, and the economic value added method. Okay, we do the average, and this is why, and this is how we get to the fair value. Okay, the only problem, I'm not telling you that NVIDIA is a bad company right now. It's still one of the best company all across the globe. But if we go to seasonality, guys, we can see that the 25-year seasonality is correlated 93% with the current year. So let's clean from the 5-year. And what we can see is something really interesting, because guys, look, if we highlight the period between today and the beginning of August, as you can see, if we go down to the statistics, in the last 25 years, only 52% of time we had positive return for NVIDIA, with an average return of 13%. But if we switch to a short position, we have 48%, which is a little bit less. But look, the average return was 24%. 13 for a long, 24. It means that in this specific time window, when NVIDIA drop very hard, okay? And this is something really important, because of course NVIDIA remain a very interesting company for the long run, but if you like to do what I do, which is a little bit of timing, let's say, this it could be a nice moment to reduce at least or sell NVIDIA in order to buy again NVIDIA when and if it will drop on the market. If we go to the overbought and oversold page here on the forecaster terminal, we see something interesting because, as you can see, we had a peak at the end of May on the market mood meter, which is our best indicator. And since this moment where we had the peak, prices went up, but with the indicator that started to drop. And this is what we call divergency. This is what we call an advice, a how can I say? It's something that is telling us be careful because prices are going up, but statistically speaking, we are reaching a potential point where a top can be made. Okay? And this is something really interesting because if we combine this statistical approach, you can find here in the overbought and oversold part of the forecaster terminal and the seasonality, we can definitely say could be a right moment just to sell NVIDIA position or reduce the position in order to buy the company when and if it drop. Okay? I'm telling you guys, on the long run, I'm still convinced that NVIDIA is one of the best company, and for the long run, I really think it's a good investment. But this summer could be a we can expect a drop, and this is why I sold it. Gallic, how long until such a divergence takes effect usually? As the price increase over quite a long period? This is a very interesting question. And in general, what happened with this kind of pattern we can see on the forecaster is something really easy. In general, we can see prices reach a new high. In this case, could be a all-time high, and then we can see a drop, which is, at the end of the day, what I expect for the S&P 500. Because if we go here on the S&P 500 and we go to the seasonality, as I show you before, look, we starting from today can expect rising prices. Here we are until the mid of July, and we can definitely expect a 3/4% rising in prices and then a drop. We can translate this analysis, new top for the S&P and then a drop. And this is actually what in general happens to this kind of pattern we can find on the overbought and oversold page. Okay, so at the moment, two factors let me decide to sell my NVIDIA position. Seasonality, as I told you, very important. We are approaching a period in NVIDIA where if the share drop, it will drop very hard. And the overbought and oversold is telling me that statistically speaking, we are at a particular point, particular level where we can experience a top. Okay? Anil, would you buy NVIDIA again after the lowest drop? Of course I will. Of course I will. And I can't wait to see NVIDIA dropping, because I can't wait to buy again the company, because I really think that, fundamentally speaking, is right now and will be one of the best company to invest in for the next 10 or 20 years. They are really moving really well in the AI field. It's really interesting. Another company I sold, guys, is Visa. Look, we sold Visa, another great company. If you see the 10-year chart, as you can see, we can see a very nice performance. In this case, NVIDIA is now a little bit overvalued. We are talking about 3%. We can definitely say it's fairly valued at the moment. But if we go to the overbought and oversold, we sold it a few days ago exactly for the same analysis we made just right now on NVIDIA. And look, we reached a top on the market mood meter at the mid of May, and since then we reached a new all-time high on NVIDIA shares. And then, but in this period, this indicator, the market mood meter, told us that something, statistically speaking, was happening. Okay, and this is why we sold it. We were a little bit lucky, because in the last few days the stock dropped a lot from the all-time high at $373. The stock dropped at 352. And if we ask why, what's happening to our AI agent, this is the answer. Visa, where is it? Concern have been raised regarding potential disruption from major customers like Amazon and Walmart developing in-house blockchain-based payment solutions. This trend could challenge Visa traditional transaction fee model, leading to decline in profit margin and potentially significant stock price impact. Okay, so of course we didn't know that Walmart and Amazon were investing in a new payment system based on blockchain, especially with stable coins. But our forecaster told us that, statistically speaking, something was happening. Okay, here on the top, exactly as it happened here at the very beginning of 2025. Here we had a all-time high, but with our indicator made a divergency. Okay, and this information we had in the past few days, combined to the fundamental analysis, let us decide it was time to sell. And at the moment we were right. Of course, this news came, the one regarding Amazon and Walmart investing in stable coins. Okay, we didn't know, but our forecaster told us that, statistically speaking and fundamentally, we reached some very important points. Okay, that's it. For the long run, the company is still very interesting. If we ask our forecast agent to make a qualitative scorecard for the company, we can go very quickly and we can find a company which is still 9 on 10. And I think the possibility to see Amazon and Walmart using a stable coin is something we can expect in something like 10 years. So I'm not scared, but Visa is still a very nice company. And I really think we can analyze and we can have this company Visa in our watch list. You have now watch list in Forecaster, so we can keep updated the analysis, and we can definitely decide to jump in again if the valuation, if the share price will drop a little bit more. Okay. We also sold the Microsoft. If we go to the fundamental page, we can definitely say at the moment Microsoft is fairly valued. We have an undervaluation of 1.4%, which is nothing. Okay. And also in this case, guys, we can see exactly the same pattern we found on Visa. Here we have this company which has reached the all-time high, but at the same time we see something happening statistically speaking. Okay, we are really high right now. We have really high prices, and these can be exactly the perfect pattern before a drop. Okay, so we got inside our long position, our long trade here, exactly on the lows, because we had a very nice undervalued stock. We had a lot of bullish signal from the statistics, and now it's time, in my opinion, to sell the position, or at least reduce it. Of course, we are talking about a great company. If we ask our AI agent to do a qualitative analysis, I remember to you, we created this qualitative scorecard after I read Where the Money Is, Value Investing in the Digital Age. And this is a great book. I really suggest you to read it. And we created this scorecard. And look, Microsoft is one of the few company where you can find a 10/10 rating. Amazing. Okay. But we can expect a drop, and this is what I like to do, is doing a little bit of timing and try to jump in again when we have a drop in prices.
Even if, as we expect, the market will drop, we will always have investing opportunities. Let's start with one of the biggest European company, LVMH.
It's a company we already had in our portfolio, and we doubled the long position. I'm talking about LVMH, one of the biggest company in Europe. If you don't know LVMH, probably you have lived under a rock, because as you can see, you can find, for example, inside LVMH, Moët Chandon, Louis Vuitton, and many luxury brands all across the globe. Okay, so fundamentally speaking, we have a very interesting company, because we have a fair value of more than 900 euros, and at the moment the current price is less than 500. So we are 97% below the fair value, which is something amazing. Okay, if we go to the overbought and oversold, we find a very interesting situation, because look, prices are dropping since the beginning of 2025. And as you can see, our market mood meter, which is a very nice indicator, went in March in the oversold part of the chart here. Starting from that point, prices continued to drop while the indicator started to rise. And at this point, with the prices made a lower low, here we have such a great divergence that will lead to one of the best opportunity I really think we can have on the market. So we have a very nice company that, if we see the fundamentals, is doing constantly buybacks, which is something really amazing for us investors. Okay, they know Mr. Arnaud, which is the chairman of the group, knows the company is undervalued, and this is why he's constantly buying back his shares. They are repurchasing their own shares, and they are creating value for us investors. Okay. At the end of the day, this is a very interesting opportunity. Let's do a check for the qualitative scorecard. And as you can see, here we have a company which is 8 on 10, which is amazing. It's not Microsoft, okay, of course, but 8 of 10 is definitely interesting. We can say we are in front of a very nice company when you find a rating of more than 7. Another company we already bought, but we doubled the investment, is Lululemon, guys. As you can see here, we have a very undervalued company, a company which is growing a lot. Even if we go to see simple prices and we put the 10-year chart, we can definitely see that if it's true, and it's definitely true, that in the long run, prices follow the fundamental of the company, this chart should be at least on the top, because the fundamentals in this chart, you can see the net income. Okay, this is an error at the moment. Mr. Market is very negative on this company because of the tariffs, because this company is a Canadian company, many things related to Mr. Trump. But at the end of the day, in the long run, the fundamental analysis will win. And between the net income and the stock price, we have such a great opportunity. Okay. If we go to the overbought. So fundamentally speaking, look, guys, we have a company which at the moment we can buy Lululemon at the same price of 2019, 2020. But if we switch to fundamentals, today we have a company that both in sales and net income, it's really different compared to the company we had in 2019, 2019 and 2020. We have a company which is 3 times more in value in both sales and net income compared to the 2020. This is a company which is growing a lot, okay? And we can also see that ratios are growing. I mean, we have a company with sales and net income growing, profit margin and ROI growing, debt are going down, or at least they are really under control. I mean, let's have a look to the statistic part. Let's go to the overbought and oversold. And look, guys, here we have what we can call a humongous divergence. The prices just made a lower low here compared to the April low, but the market mood meter just told us we are exactly on a bullish divergence. Okay, look, here we can definitely see investors are buying this company. This is such a great opportunity in my opinion, and this is why I doubled my position on Lululemon. Philip, how would you look at the entry point for this? You go to the Forecaster terminal website and you go here, market mood meter. If you go here, I can share with you the link. Of course, if you will see the recorded version of the webinar, you will find it in the description, the link. Anyway, here I explain exactly how to use this indicator as a timing tool for getting inside a position. And as you can see, we have to find first a divergence, and then we have to wait for the indicator to reach the zero level, which is point number, which is the C part here. And then after the indicator reach the zero level, we can wait for a divergence. And this is exactly what is happening right now with the Lululemon. Okay, because look, we already had a very important divergence here. Prices of the indicator is going up while we experienced a new low here. Then prices reached the zero level, and this is something that tells us that the trend has changed, passing through a downward trend to an upward. And here we add the second divergence. And this is, in my opinion, it's a buy signal, guys. Very, very simple. Yes, of course, Gallic is writing, will go in with my options. Oh, of course. I don't use at the moment options, but I like to invest in stocks. But of course, you can use the forecaster in order to have an analysis, and then you can decide to invest with option, stocks, whatever you want.
I told you why we sold. I told you why we bought. Let me share with you why we are holding some positions. Let's take another very interesting company, ASML, as an example.
First of all, we have a company which is growing in net income with prices of the share which is going down. And this is an amazing situation because, like in Lulu, we have a company which is growing, but for many reasons, we have Mr. Market, which is very pessimist on the company. We can also have a qualitative scorecard for the company and for example, in this case, we find a company which is 9 on 10. Amazing. This is a nice company to invest in for the long run. Okay. If we go to the fundamentals, we can definitely see a company which is undervalued and very solid. Why we didn't sold it? Easy, guys, because at the moment we do not have a divergence between prices and our market mood meter. That's it. It's an undervalued company. We do not have overbought signal for the company. That's it. We keep it in our portfolio. Very, very simple. I ask you a favor. If you go to Google and you write Forecaster.biz and you have 1 minute, please leave us a review. Just go in here on the review page of Google. If you write us a review, thank you very much, because we are trying to reach as many people as possible all across the globe with Forecaster. And it's happening because, as you can see, Forecaster is already used all across the globe. And if you have 2 minutes, please go to Google and write Forecaster.biz Trust Pilot. If you can please leave us a review also here, I can share the link with you. Thank you very much, because it really helps us in order to go abroad. Thank you very much. See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.